Hey, so today's episode is actually going to be a little different than what we normally do. So I actually pre-recorded this interview, and it was because timing, I couldn't get it all to work. So I recorded it, but it's really long and filled with so much amazing information that we're going to actually divide it into two episodes. So today I'm going to go cut over to the recorded version. We're going to do about half of it. And then I want you to stay tuned for next week, because next week we're going to do the second half. And I am telling you, you are going to get an insider's look to something that you will likely never have been able to do before. So stay tuned for this week and for next week. I'll come in at the end and kind of check in to see what you thought, but just be ready for a two-part episode. All right, let's go. Well, hey there, Diet Disruptors. Carrie here, and I have a guest, and I'm so excited. I gotta say, everybody, that Andrew Mangeris has one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know. He's also one of the smartest people I know. And today we are going to dig into one of the 6 plates that we talk about all the time. Remember the 6 spinning plates: nutrition, exercise, hydration, sleep, stress, and supplements. Today, we are going to talk to the king of supplements. Andrew is the Chief Product Officer for Kyani. And all of you know that Kyani is the product line that we recommend more often than anything else because of for so many reasons. And Andrew is one of those reasons. So Andrew, hi, welcome.
Thank you, Carrie. I am so excited, and what a pleasure it is to be on this with you.
Oh my goodness. I love that we're going to be able to talk about this, because this is a subject that people get a little bit, I don't know, a little bit funny about. It's a sticky subject because there's people that are like, wait, supplements, products? Are you trying to sell me something? And there's a reason why they're one of the 6 plates. I always say we're not going to go look for new diets. Whenever we're trying to figure out stuff with our health, we just look at those 6 plates and figure out which one's not spinning. People get freaked out about the supplement plate. Why do you think that is, Andrew? Why?
You know, I think it comes back. One of the things you mentioned is somebody trying to sell me something, and is this really going to work? I think sometimes there's negative connotations around, is there science behind this? Or what are you selling me? Or is this just something that a relative or a friend has recommended? But I think when you get into some of the science behind it, we live in a day and age of so much opportunity of science to support how natural supplements really work. And so I think that stigma is coming down, because I think people are starting to understand that God's created some incredible things. Your body is one of them, right? It's so intelligent and so smart. If we support it with smart nutrition, and we can boost that nutrition in your body and help your body's intelligence, it's incredible what we can do.
Absolutely. And here's what we know. We know we cannot, especially in this day and age, but I mean, our members are actually reading a book called Salt, Sugar, Fat. If anybody hasn't read it yet, it's a must-read book. But back from really the 50s, when processed food started to become more and more of a thing, less and less nutrients were actually getting into our systems. When we started, just getting busier and having a lot of the processed food, we literally, even today, because we farm faster and more efficient than we did, even 100 years ago, we cannot get all the nutrients that we need just in our food. And to do it, I mean, I would need to have a biodynamic farm with like the best soil in my backyard, growing all the things myself. And I don't think that's possible. Would you agree?
I would absolutely agree. Matter of fact, I work for a farmer who has incredible technology, and they can produce, just so much food now compared to what they used to. But it depletes the soil. It's different than it used to be. There's a lot more processes. All of my sons actually worked on a farm and got to see the actual process. But there's so many less things that we're putting back into the soil than we used to.
Absolutely. It is different now, and we need it. But I always say we need to supplement smarter, not harder. And there's so much out there. It's so confusing. And you're right. Like so-and-so says I should do this, or well, here is why this podcast, this session is so incredible. I don't know of any other company or any other product that you can buy from wherever you are, at the vitamin store, at the Costco, at the Walmart, wherever you're going, where you're going to actually be able to hear from the man himself, the chief product officer, the person who is responsible for all the stuff in their products, than right here. This is literally the man. He is the chief product officer of Kyani, and he is going to talk to us today really about what goes on in these products. And you guys, there is a reason why I have chosen Kyani over everything else. Do you know how many companies approach me? Like on a daily basis. And I am very, very picky. And so when I actually said yes to Kyani, it was because of Andrew. It was because of what I learned about these products. It was because of their incredible integrity and efficacy of every single thing that goes into it. Then on top of it, I got to know how incredible these people were. We did a podcast a few weeks ago with Carl Taylor, the founder of Kyani, about Caring Hands, the charity that Kyani runs. And Andrew is a very big part of that. And so the heart and the mission of the entire organization was like a cherry on top. But the whole reason I said yes to Kyani and that Mark and I worked to bring Nitro Nutrition over here was because of you and the larger organization, of course, but you. So let's talk a little bit about why I was so impressed. Let's dig into what makes Kyani, why it's different, why it's special, and why people need to pay attention and not get freaked out just because we're talking about products and supplements.
So a couple of things that I love. I've been with Kyani almost 10 years now. I have a background in human biology. I love science and I love nutrition and I love being able to help people. It has created the perfect environment for me to be able to help people that are in need, right? Mm-hmm. People need to understand the benefits of taking care of your body. Mm-hmm. But the culture here at Kyani has been incredible. You mentioned Carl Taylor. He's been on your show. He is a founder at Kyani. All three of my sons have worked for him on his farm and know him personally. And when you work on a farm, you're working 12 to 18 hours a day, depending on if it's a harvest time. And when they come home and they say, I love Carl, and he is like a grandfather to them, you know that he's just got that heart and he's that guy that you really want to be around. So that culture that he's created here at Kyani is one of the reasons why I'm here. They give me the freedom and when I develop products to be able to do it in a way as such as, no, you've got to cut that cost. You've got to cut that cost. You've got to cut this corner. You've got to cut that corner. As a matter of fact, I do get in trouble sometimes because our cost of goods is so high. Maybe I shouldn't say that on recording, but that's one of the things that I love. I want to create I don't want people to say, no, you've got to cut it down, cut it down. I want people to say, look, make that the best product that you can. We have our pillars and what we talk about, and I'll get into those, but we want that nature-based, clean, pure product. And Kyani, it allows us to be able to do that, but that culture that we bring in together is something I just love.
Yeah, it is from every single asset and aspect of the company. So this is what I think is super special. And I would love for people, if you're watching this live, to be able to comment in about how incredible you think it is. Just put a 1 in the comments if you're like, wait a minute, I get to actually talk to a human that developed these products. It is what I love about Kyani. Andrew knows I might text him a couple times a day with some questions, and he always gets back to me. And that to me is around transparency. You know, a company has that level of integrity when they are not afraid of any question and they will answer all of them. And so when we talk about clean products, there's a million products out there, but I will only recommend the ones that I know from the very beginning to the very end are filled with the practices that I would want my own family to have and use. So when people ask me about other products, I might look at the label and say, yeah, I mean, okay, but I don't know where the sourcing comes from. I don't know where their integrity comes from. I don't know what their mission is and really what they stand for. And with Kyani, I can in every single way. So there's 100% confidence in everything that you guys do. And you have a small product line. So in all reality, you do things right and well. And you're not like 4,000 products, right? Like this huge, big line. Because how could you do that
we
right
want to
and
keep
well?
it simple, right? We want
Mhm.
people to be able to understand nutrition doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
And we talk about wellness simplified. We talk about how busy and crazy our lives are right now. That's just part of the culture that has evolved. And people need to understand that we're fitting into that lifestyle and we're fitting into your busy schedule, making things that are convenient for you and simple so that you understand and not trying to complicate everything.
I mean, that is our entire tagline: simple, sustainable, and satisfying. And that is what I think one of the reasons why we work so well together. So I really do want to dig into all of this, but it's important for me to just really share that the Kyani line, the foundational supplements are what I really believe. And I work with a functional nutritionist. I work with all sorts of people that this is what I say is what every body needs, like blood sugar stabilization. It's the basics that like everybody needs. And if you're not adding these things in to your routine, then you are really putting yourself at a place of almost sort of a deficit in some ways, because you're not going to be able to get it all in nutrition. I always say, though, no program should be based on products. If you can't do a nutritional approach without the products, that means you have no education, you have no knowledge about what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's not what we want. At Kyani, their whole mission is around how do you love your food? How do you understand it? That's why they wanted to work with Mark McDonald. And then how do you fill the gaps with what we know food cannot do? And so that you can do it forever and you know why and you know how, and you're not just told blindly what to do. You guys are all about that.
Yes, we are. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love how you point out that we're part of that bigger picture, right? It's not just a program developed around products and the products become that focus. Everything we talk about is to create that balance in your life. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What is your lifestyle like? What are you doing outside of just taking some product?
You guys have taken care of that 6 spinning plate, which I really believe is just as important as all the other ones. When I went on a mission trip for Caring Hands in Mexico with Carl Taylor, the founder of Kyani, I sat there in the airport with him and I said, I just can't get over. I've been teaching the same concepts that Mark McDonald teaches, and I've been teaching PFC every 3 and all of this for years and years. And it's like, you guys have been doing this work for 14 years. And it was like this marriage, it was synergistic, because I've been working for women for so many years without the supplementation. And for the last year, a little more than a year with the supplementation. And that is where it speaks volumes for me. Yes, we could live the lifestyle. Yes, we knew how to eat, but adding that supplementation, spinning that 6 plate has made all the difference in success and getting to our optimal health. So let's dig in and talk about the background, talk about what you guys stand for and about these products and why they're so powerful.
Great. All right, let me share my screen and I'm going to go into some of the things that we have as far as a product overview. Let me see if you're all right. How's that look? Can you see?
Yeah, that looks great. And everybody that's listening on the podcast, we will have the PDF of this in the show notes so you can grab it and take a look at everything that he's saying. All right, Andrew, let's go. I'm super excited.
So part of our philosophy is health activated, hope elevated, right? And so we want to help activate your health. And I love that word activate because it really it's an action word. It gets into movement and you have to do something. We can't just sit there and not do anything, right? We have to actually activate what we do. And then we talk about what is our product positioning. We're a premium nutrition brand that works with the body's intelligence. I love that word, intelligence, because your body is intelligent, right? It's so intelligent. And then we do that to help elevate your health and boost nutrition in every system, in every cell in your body. That's where we're coming from as we formulate these and as we're trying to put this together.
And do we see that word? Like, we're boosting nutrition. We're not replacing it. This isn't like we replace all of that stuff with products. And it goes into the cellular level. I always say when you get to your optimal health, you're going to get to your optimal weight, but you will not get to your optimal health if you're not actually doing the things that will make you healthy. And cellular health, getting to that cellular level is really important. This is awesome.
Yep, I love that too. Yeah, boost nutrition. And I'm going to piggyback on that. I love how we're boosting it. This isn't everything. You've got to have a balanced diet. You've got to be eating healthy. You've got to be doing other things, but we are going to boost it.
Yep, for sure. And what I love too is everybody has to start where they are, right? And so you can kind of go with where you are. And if this is where you want to start because it's a simpler way to start, then this is what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Some product pillars.
Andrew, this is one of the reasons why I said yes to Kyani and said, if I'm going to recommend something, it's got to have all these things. And this is huge.
It is. And it's what we stand for, right? This is like, all right, I'm putting my stake in the ground right here. This is what we do when we formulate a product. We need to make sure that we can offer these 5 things, right? First of all, we talk about maximum good in those products. That means that the ingredients are high quality, they're clean, they're pure, they're nature-based ingredients. And you can't get any better than that. Maximum good.
This is where sourcing is so important, right?
Yeah, say that again, sorry.
This is where sourcing is so important.
It is. It gets into, all right, we could get this source of grapeseed, for example, from any of these other sources. But you know what? There's a new technology out there that has a water extraction process that nobody has been using. Nobody's even investigated this. Are you able to use that and source it from there? And that's actually in one of our ingredients is we source it from the only source of water extraction process for grapeseed extract. Incredible.
So cool.
Simple and convenient, right? And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. Our lives are so busy right now. People have so much going on. They don't want it to be complicated. They need to understand it quickly and grasp it, but they also need it to be convenient. And so that's what we formulate for. We have products that are easy, rip it and sip it, as we say a lot of times, grab it and go. You can just mix it on the go as you're leaving. Things like that, so that it fits within your lifestyle, that busy lifestyle that we know that you have. Innovation, we want to make sure that the products we are developing are innovative, they're cutting edge. It comes back to the science side of things. What is the latest science saying on these ingredients, these products, and making sure that we utilize that latest innovation and stay up to date on that.
And this is why I love this. We're talking to the scientist, right? And there's a whole team of you, right? There's a whole bunch of you in there, but you are that person. And I think with Kyani, and we talk about nitric oxide and how it's a molecule of life and how it really was only truly developed in the early 90s. And when we think about the fact that Kyani has been working with nitric oxide for 14 years before anybody else realized its power, really? I mean, that's innovation right there. And that was from the very beginning.
And we've taken that to another level. As I go through the products, I'm going to talk to you about 4 different ways that we help address the nitric oxide, that molecule of life, and help you to support that production in your body.
And nobody's doing that. Let's be honest. I have never seen it ever in any product. Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, the 4th pillar is results. I love this one because if people are not having results, we're not doing our job. We're not formulating right. We want people to feel the difference that these products can make in their lives. And if they're not doing that, then, hey, let's get this product out of here. But that's what we focus on. We want to make sure that you're getting those results. And then, of course, the 5th one is product guarantee. We offer a money-back guarantee on these products because if you're not satisfied, we're not satisfied. You are our customer. You are a number 1 priority. And we want to make sure that you're going to be satisfied with that product.
I love that. Andrew, I just have a question about how you kind of develop products. And I know in the last year, I've been able to be a part of some new product development, which has been very cool. But when you kind of get that idea, when you're thinking about your pillars and all of that, how does it start? What is that process of developing a new product and how you get that science really in there to make sure that it's innovative and it's got the maximum good?
Great question. We do a lot of market research, right? On the science side of things, as well as with individuals. So we look at our audience, those individuals, those customers that are very busy, they're family oriented. They usually are above average education, a little bit smarter. They want a higher quality. And that's kind of our demographic. And so we look at what are some of the needs that they have, and we'll do market research with them. We'll look at what are some of the things that concerns that they have in their lives. Can we address those concerns? Can we help alleviate some of those concerns? And then, of course, back on the science side, we look at what is some of the latest research saying. Does this ingredient that there's, coming out with this new adaptogen, that's showing some research. Is that something we should do? Because we go back and we reformulate too. We've had, since I've been here, I want to say 5 or 6 different iterations of our flagship product in less than 10 years. So that's huge from the standpoint of, that these products are up to date and with the latest research.
I love that. All right, let's keep going.
All right, let's dive into this is what sometimes people may call a flagship product, one of our primary products. It was certainly one of the first products that we introduced at Kyani. It has 22 different superfoods in it. It's a water-soluble product. We call it Kyani Sunrise. And Kyani Sunrise has the water-soluble nutrients that your body needs. Now, we put them into water-soluble and lipid-soluble, all of these basic nutrients that most people are thinking about, into a water-soluble because your body's going to assimilate it better and be able to utilize it better when you put it into a liquid or like lipid or fat-soluble type ingredients. And so
that makes a really big difference in the way that we're consuming it, in the way that this pouch is.
It does. It makes a difference in how your body utilizes it, making sure it gets absorbed, right? And that bioavailability. And so we put 22 different superfoods. We've taken what we call the full spectrum of fruits, adaptogens, vegetables, and put them all into this one ounce of liquid that you can conveniently take at any time.
How do you do that? How do you take like 15 servings of what goes in, like in fruits and vegetables and all that stuff that none of us are going to do in food? Let's be honest. How do you get it all into that? Like, how do you get all of that stuff, 22 superfoods, into a tiny little pouch like that?
We use a lot of concentrated products. So there's concentrations, there's extracts in there. And then we blend them, of course, all together. You will taste it. This isn't like drinking, straight apple juice or something where it's like, oh, this is a nice sweet. You are going to taste herbs. You're going to taste different fruits and vegetables that are in there. And it enlivens the palate, and is how I like to think of it.
My kids love it. My kids all have it in the morning. What a difference it makes. This is so important for so many reasons. And the rip and sip makes it super, super simple. But this is where like the wild Alaskan blueberry story really comes in, because the blueberry is really important, but this is a big part of why Kyani is so important and so strong in what they do. They don't just go out and get any blueberry. The wild Alaskan blueberry is A, hard to get, B, more expensive. And so C, why is it that you use it in this?
Because it's more potent.
There you go.
And it's a potent antioxidant, right? It's at least 5 times more potent than a regular blueberry that you're going to eat. We've all heard about the benefits of blueberries. You should eat blueberries. It's a very potent antioxidant. But when it's wild, it has those harsh conditions. First of all, you're not using pesticides or herbicides in that wild environment, but it's natural, just as it was created. It has the best of the non-GMO as well as organic when you're choosing a wild. Now, you can't always get wild in different types of ingredients, but when you can, that is our first choice to use because of its purity.
Yep, love that. All right, let's keep going.
We've got 60 trace minerals in here as well. Trace minerals are incredible cofactors for so many other functions in the body. And this is probably one of the big reasons why soil depletion, when we talk about soil depletion, we're talking about the minerals in the soil that have become depleted, especially some of these trace minerals. Some of the macro minerals, they might get replaced in that normal farming process because they put them in, but the trace minerals are one of the things that have been depleted in our diet throughout the years.
I actually had functional medical testing done about 2 years ago and then retested. And what a complete difference. And wait till I tell you what I was missing. But all of my trace minerals are right where they needed to be, except sodium and potassium and my magnesium absorption was a problem. And so we'll get to that, why that's so incredibly powerful. But I just had that testing done a couple of weeks ago by our functional medical practitioner that we work with. And I, of course, do Sunrise every day. What a difference in my testing. And I eat, for the last 10 years, I've eaten exactly the way I need to be eating.
Yeah. And that's a testament to that story, right? We all eat, but are we getting nutrition when we eat?
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, but what does Sunrise do? Here's a couple of the key components of it, what we call structure function statements of it. It helps support a healthy immune system, healthy inflammatory response. It's a potent antioxidant with all these 22 different superfoods, helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels. So these are just some of over a dozen different benefits that you get from this product.
Again, supplement smarter, not harder. And it absorbs because of the gel, you know, the pack that it's in, and it's going to be so much more effective than so many other things that we're spending our money on and like thinking that are helping us. I love it. Yep.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Sunset. Now, Sunset is all your lipid soluble or fat soluble nutrients in here. And we have 5 key ingredients that are in here. We have wild omega fatty acids, and people have heard about omegas, the importance of omegas. DHA, EPA, both of those are in there. We use it from wild Alaskan salmon, as well as other wild Alaskan fish that are out there. Why wild? Again, wild means that, you know, it's natural. It's not being farmed. They're not being fed processed foods. They're eating as they normally would. And you're going to get better quality and purity of the omegas, as well as those DHAs and EPAs in this product with that.
There are so many omegas out there, and this has so many other things in addition, right? So again, smarter, not harder, but there's so much garbage out there. And that is what really like, it gets me. And it's like, you'll never know the sourcing, you guys, from something that you're just finding on the shelves.
And one of the other things you mentioned, these other ingredients, these are some other potent ingredients. Tocotrienols, most people are familiar with vitamin E. Yeah, vitamin E is an antioxidant, it's a lipid-soluble antioxidant, it's good for you. Yeah, there was some studies done, it helps circulation, supports heart health, blah, 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 blah. But most people don't realize that tocotrienols is up to 50 times more potent than alpha tocopherol. And alpha tocopherol is what most people use in their products. That's what they use. We use a form of tocotrienols, which is another form of vitamin E that comes from an annatto plant that is pure but extremely potent. And it's a huge difference between what this product is and what you might find somewhere else.
This is what I'm talking about, you guys. The scientist himself is talking about this, and you have no idea in the other stuff that you're taking if they're substituting, right? And you don't even have anybody to ask. So I think that these are the powerful piece, that transparency. So
Yep.
great. So great.
Of course, we've got vitamin A in the form of beta carotene, so it's not toxic, right? In a natural form. Vitamin D. Oh my gosh, how much have we learned in the past 2 years about the importance of vitamin D?
Thank you.
It supports your immune system, right?
Yeah.
Incredible product. We all need to make sure that we're getting it. And D, I always say, stands for deficiency, because it's probably the most deficient vitamin in the population today.
Yep. 100%. And I love that we have in the morning, in the evening, and why do you call it sunrise, sunset? Like what's the rationale there?
Sunrise, take in the morning, sunset, you can take in the evening, but you can take them both in the morning or both in the evening, right? But we do that to help remember people to take the sunset in the evening. Now, a lot of times you metabolize fats in the evening, so people want to take it in the evening. There's nothing in here that's going to make you go to sleep.
Right.
Although vitamin D helps support healthy sleep as well as omegas. There's some great studies that show that support. But you can take them really morning or evening.
Yep. But I do love the concept of around what we absorb at night is different than what we absorb during the day. And you guys have spoken to that science, but it's better to take it at the same time if you're not going to remember to take it at night.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
That's what I tell people.
Yep.
If you can, take sunset at night. But you know what? If you're going to forget at night because of your habits and your lifestyle, take it in the morning. Just don't forget.
Yep. Exactly.
And then of course it has astaxanthin in here, and astaxanthin is what's considered the milligram per milligram, the world's most potent antioxidant, an incredible carotenoid that helps support circulation, heart health, eye health, so many different areas. So a great addition as well. And of course, this product,
so much in one product. Like for all you science geeks out there, you got to be like, this is amazing. This is very interesting. Because again, when do you get to talk to the guy that made the stuff?
And it's all natural, non-GMO, right? There's no preservatives in this product. It comes in a little soft gel capsule that's easy to swallow. You take it, it's incredible. One of my favorite products. Love this one.
And it needs to be in that dark bottle too, right?
Yeah, so UV protection. So it's it's a darker bottle to help that UV protection, so it doesn't degrade or break down in transit or when it's sitting on your counter or anything like that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about nitro. Now, nitro,
one of my
Sunrise,
favorites.
Sunset, and nitro make up what we call our triangle of health. These three products are some of the original products, but as you mentioned, we have been talking about nitric oxide for almost 15 years now, I think. So nitric oxide is the molecule of life. And if you've never heard of it before, you need to do some research about nitric oxide and supporting the body's nitric oxide. Virtually every system and every organ in the body needs and utilizes nitric oxide. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the key benefits that are just probably the highlight of it, but nitric oxide is so important in your entire body, and the production declines with age, or ability to produce it declines with age.
Yeah, exactly. And I talk about the fact that we can live for 5 minutes without oxygen. We can live for 5 seconds without nitric oxide, but yet we don't even know about it. And everything to do with our absorption, everything happens in our blood. And if we don't have good blood flow, it impacts every single system as well as our nutrient absorption. This is a perfect example of how you can be having your food, but if it's not being absorbed, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And that's what nitric oxide does. It helps that absorption and delivery of every nutrient in the body, because it's gonna open up your blood vessels. It's gonna help that absorption from your small intestines into that mesenteric blood flow. You know, there's studies that support that mesenteric blood flow increases when you increase your nitric oxide, and how important that is for the rest of the nutrients of the body.
Everything. I mean, yeah, you were saying, Kyani for many years built everything on these three products, and it was changing people's lives. So the rest of these are like certain things that like were the extra stuff that you knew people still needed and wanted, but this to me is super foundational.
And it supports that fast acting or short-term pathway of nitric oxide production. We'll talk about a couple other products that support the long-term pathway, but nitrates, they're the fast-acting ones, right? Your saliva, the good bacteria in your mouth actually starts to break it down. Your stomach starts to acidify that and get nitric oxide within minutes in your system.
Minutes. I mean, can I tell a story about my sister-in-law? You want to hear what happened to her?
Absolutely.
It was so crazy. She was dealing with a lot of like numbness in her feet. And she's just, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, have you tried the nitro? And she's like, no, oh my gosh, I got it. I forgot. She ran upstairs and got it, and she took it. And she was like, Carrie, oh my God, I can feel my feet. I haven't been able to feel my feet in weeks. She's like, oh my God. And I mean, it was like that. And I said, Stace, this is what I'm talking about. When our circulation is slowing down and our blood flow is life. And she was literally just walking around with it in her hoodie, in her pocket. But it was like that immediate and that fast. And we're talking about the noni fruit as the source of this. I didn't even know the noni fruit though, honestly, beforehand. How did you guys know about that?
you know, the noni fruit's been around it's a kind of a traditional product that's been used among the Polynesian groups for years for medicinal benefits, and there's some health benefits that they've taken it. But we use an organic source of noni concentrate that has higher levels of nitrates, so that and this is specifically formulated so that you can help support that production of nitric oxide.
So that's what it's doing. It's helping us to produce the nitric oxide.
It is.
It's like triggering that internal production.
you can't, because nitric oxide is actually a gas that has a shelf life of less than a second most of the time, you can't actually have a supplement that's nitric oxide. So you support the body through nitrates or some of these amino acids, and then that supports the body's ability to produce nitric oxide. So these dietary nitrates that you find in vegetables and fruits, just naturally, what we've done is we've taken a concentration of these dietary nitrates from the noni plant and put it into there, and supporting it with other ingredients, right? There's several other ingredients, a couple vitamins, and as well as some minerals and CoQ10 that help that nitric oxide production as well.
I love it. I love it. There's like, you guys literally thought of everything, and we've only gotten three products in. Okay, well, it was a lot of information. Am I right, Andrew? Thank you so much. To be able to have a scientist like him, a chief product officer like him, just be transparent and open and be willing to take any questions that we have, it is like something that just doesn't happen in this industry. So I hope you are as excited as I am. So if you have any questions so far, go ahead and put them in the comments and I will get them to Andrew. And then next week, we're going to do the second half of our interview. And I can't wait for you to hear the rest of it. Thanks, guys.